Anytime you have an opportunity to gain hardware, you do it. A lot of coaches and players go through their entire career and you don't get to hoist a trophy or win a championship or climb a ladder. And to have this inner city rivalry the way that we do is unique as any all around the country. I love this game. I think it's great for basketball, women's basketball, and basketball in this city. I love the Crosstown Shootout.
It's the most important non-conference game for each of these teams, and it has significant meaning within the city of Cincinnati. It's the women's Crosstown Shootout today in Fifth Third Arena as Cincinnati hosts Xavier. Welcome courtside, glad you're with us. Here with Jillian Hayes and AB Stocks, I'm Anthony Mazzini. A unique perspective today. Jillian, you played at Cincinnati. AB, you coached at Xavier. I'm curious, what's the coaching perspective like entering a matchup like this? What's the player perspective like?
As a player, these are the games you live for, you get hyped for, you know the whole city is going to turn up, and you come in with a whole bunch of pride knowing that you have bragging rights when you win this game.
Turn up is right, Jill. The energy, the momentum, a coach wants to instill that and infuse that. This isn't just any other game. This is a game you want your players to be clicking on all cylinders.
Maybe if you were coaching Xavier right now, you would be very happy to have Mariah Noel on your squad.
Mariah Noel is a special talent. The transfer from Ole Miss is averaging 17.1 points per game, which has her ranked 4th in the Big East, and she's one of only 5 players ranked top 10 in Big East in both scoring and rebounding.
It's her first Crosstown Shootout, the transfer from Ole Miss. And conversely, Jillian, it's first Crosstown Shootout for Maya Perry.
Maya Perry has been absolutely electric for the University of Cincinnati. She's averaging 19.1 points per game, ranked 5th in the Big 12. She is shooting at a high percentage as well and looking to win her first Crosstown Shootout as well.
This is the 47th meeting in the women's Crosstown Shootout. Cincinnati has won 28 of the 46. And including last year, a 12-point win for Cincinnati, 60-48 at the Cintas Center across town. It's the women's Crosstown Shootout, Xavier and Cincinnati. And it starts right now with Xavier holding possession to start the game.
The first thing you notice right away is the length of Xavier. Jillian, you mentioned how much longer this roster is as in the past.
That's a good feed inside. Mackenzie Gibbons, she knows a lot about this matchup, played at Princeton High School, one of a few Cincinnati locals part of this rivalry, scores the opening bucket. For the Bearcats, it's Perry, Jackson, DeVillisi, Torrance, and Thomas, the starting 5. Katrina Merriweather, we mentioned the success she had against Xavier throughout her career. She is 12-0, 8-0 as a coach, 4-0 as a player all time against the Xavier Musketeers. She has been in these situations, in these Crosstown Shootouts a lot throughout her time with Cincinnati and elsewhere during her time in Memphis and Wright State. She's a 3-time Horizon League Coach of the Year, her 3rd season at Cincinnati, a couple of years at Memphis and Wright State. And her team needs a comeback after one quarter here, down 19-11. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Tied at 33 in the women's Crosstown Shootout. Canerva spot up 3.
Cincinnati's getting sucked in every time a Xavier player drives. All the Cincinnati defense is getting sucked in, leaving the 3 open.
Well, coming into the game, that may have been a good strategy with a team only shooting 25%, but not today. Xavier has started to make some 3s.
I think it's the Crosstown Shootout. You have to make some 3s.
One of those games that you hope your deficiencies aren't deficiencies anymore.
That was a great basketball play by Perry. Coming off Allianz, gets the defender stuck. Allianz rolls, easy dump down.
And great eye by the official to recognize that there was no charge in that possession.
As a post player, I think those are always hard. You never want to use too much force or you'll get called, but you also do want to go up. So it was nice to see the referee just let them play it out.
DeVillisi hangs.
Okay, so we got 2 players now who came to step up their game. Kalia DeVillisi now in double figures to keep up with Callie Barrett, 10 points for DeVillisi.
Cincinnati's first lead of the ball game. Approaching 30 seconds to go in the first half. Canerva sucks in the defense again. Borolova cannot cash in. Shot clock off for Cincinnati. They can hold for the final shot, but Perry wants the easy two.
Phenomenal job by Cincinnati, getting that ball right up the court quickly. Maya Perry downhill, immediately attacking the rim.
I think that's the best thing you can do in transition. You know, get downhill. There's no defense set.
Givens to the rim, right at the buzzer.
You can tell Givens is playing with the chip on her shoulder, being from Cincinnati.
That's right, the Princeton graduate understands the moment. She seizes this opportunity to keep it a one-possession game with Xavier only down one.
Now, Cincinnati didn't lead until very late in the first half, and they take a one-point lead into halftime in the women's Crosstown Shootout.
Anytime you have an opportunity to gain hardware, you do it. A lot of coaches and players go through their entire career and you don't get to hoist a trophy or win a championship or climb a ladder. And to have this inner city rivalry the way that we do is unique as any all around the country. I love this game. I think it's great for basketball, women's basketball, and basketball in the city. I love the Crosstown Shootout.
These schools only separated by a couple of miles, located within the same city.
Of course, having been in it as a player, a GA, an assistant coach, and a head coach, I am pleased that it still exists. A lot of things kind of go away, you know, as years and even decades go by. But I love what this game means in terms of basketball in the city. When you have people that bleed this red and black, then it's always important. I think that when people are bought into you, even though it may not be something they're used to, then they play that game really hard for you and they coach that game really hard for you. It doesn't mean anything if we just talk about it. You got to go out there and you have to prove it. This is not something that we're going to do, something they're going to give. This is something that you are absolutely going to take possession by possession, so let's go get it. Billy and I in particular have different styles, and so you're going to see a chess match out there. And I think that it stretches me every time we play them, regardless of what the score is. We have great respect for each other, but it is a highly competitive game. I think it teaches our kids to play at a high level when there's a lot of energy. I mean, there's going to be thousands of people here watching them play.
And Cincinnati can celebrate on Xavier's home court. The Bearcats win the Crosstown Shootout.
It's always a big crowd, and we've never lost while I've been here, and we're not trying to start now.
Everybody wants the trophy. Everybody wants to hold it year to year. I have not been a part of any team in this rivalry where we ended up with less points than Xavier at the buzzer, so we're going to try to keep that going.
Our city on three! 1, 2, 3!
Cincinnati didn't lead until very late in the first half, but they go into the locker room up a point over the Xavier Musketeers, 39-38. The score at half. Earlier today, they celebrated and honored the 1998-99 Cincinnati women's basketball team, and we just so happen to have a representative, A.B. Stokes. What were those days like back in 98-99?
A lot of fun and a lot of hard, intense work. You look at the roster there. Coach Merriweather sitting on the bench next to myself and Medina Slace, Coach Pirtle coaching, Tanya Kirk and Nikki Graber standing there in the background with Doris Scott around the corner. That was quite a roster we had, and we did a lot of trial, pushing through adversity. Our freshman year, we were 8-19, then went on, as you see there, to be 22-9 and 12-4 during that 98-99 season, winning a regular season Conference USA championship, and our coach, our beloved coach Lori Pirtle, being named Conference USA Coach of the Year.
And she's ultimately now in the Cincinnati Hall of Fame as we welcome you back here courtside at Fifth Third Arena, Anthony, Jillian, and A.B. Jill, I gotta ask, how much, when you were playing at Cincinnati, did you hear about those Cincinnati teams from when they were going NCAA tournaments and having some really good years?
All the time. Coach Trina did not mention you guys, whether it was effort, grit, their togetherness, and it's been incredible even to see the team come back. We got to see them last year, and Coach Pirtle's a legend, so great to see her and have her around.
Well, now Cincinnati trying to make their mark in the Big 12 after bouncing around some conferences, Conference USA, Big East, American. Now they look to make their mark in the Big 12. Their third season in the conference, and it's a really tough conference. As we check out some of the news and notes from the early part of Big 12 action, I mean, Audie Crooks, Jill, you played against her at Iowa State. She is a handful inside.
She is. There's not much you can do about it.
Oklahoma State, 133 points, the number 24 team in the nation. Continuing to be led by Staley Hurd, who's been a mainstay under Coach Hoyt. And TCU re-upping this year. No more Sedona Prince, no more Haley Van Lith, but they bring in Olivia Miles from Notre Dame, and she put up a triple-double against UTEP, 95-40, the final score for the number 8 Horned Frogs. Some upcoming games within the Big 12 later on this week and down the stretch as non-conference play rolls on. Arizona State 10-0 under their new head coach, taking on Penn State in Happy Valley. Iowa against Iowa State. No more Caitlin Clark, AB, but that still figures to be a pretty good game out in Ames against the number 10 Cyclones.
It is. We already talked about Olivia Miles and her triple-double. Well, when you look at Iowa State, Addie Brown, another player who has secured a triple-double this season.
And West Virginia and their pressing style will host Georgia Tech as well coming up later on this month. 39-38, Cincinnati in front at halftime in the women's Crosstown Shootout. Back for the second half after this. Second half is just moments away from getting started here in Cincinnati. The Bearcats up 1 over the Crosstown rival Xavier Musketeers. Welcome back courtside. Glad you're with us. Anthony Mazzini, Jillian Hayes, and AB Stocks. Thoughts from the first half. Jill, we'll start with you. Cincinnati didn't lead until very late. How did they turn it up to get this lead at halftime?
Yes, at the start, they were kind of being lackadaisical, not really taking care of the ball, watching who was guarding on the inbound. They definitely have settled in, settled down, and they're starting to produce.
For Xavier, AB, they led for most of the first half, taking advantage of some of that lackadaisicalness for Cincinnati.
That's right. Xavier came out intense, foot on the gas. They were sharp and crisp, not only with their defensive assignments, but also with their offensive execution. Xavier's shooting has been what's been most impressive. They came into the game not being too solid behind that three-point line, but they stepped it up, and they're shooting a good clip.
And they're getting a lot of production from Mackenzie Givens, the Cincinnati native, played at Princeton High School. She didn't factor much into the rotation last year, AB. You know this game means a lot to her.
What you like about Givens is she's doing the little things and allowing the game to come to her. On the season, the sophomore is averaging 11 points per game, but right now in the first half of the Crosstown Shootout, she's already above her season average with 12.
And she took advantage of some of those early Cincinnati miscues. You talk about a coming-out game, Jillian. Callie Barrett, career high in the first half.
Career high in the first half of her first Crosstown Shootout. Not much like it. She's been a spark off the bench, shooting 5 for 7 from the field, 2 for 3 from the three-point line. She is looking to let it go, and if I was her, I would keep letting it go too.
Now, she had made some of those passes that were taken away by Givens earlier in the game, so you knew she wanted to avenge that and help her team out get those points back, and she certainly did. 12 points. Givens with 12. You see the points off turnovers there. Cincinnati limited those as the first half went along, but 14 points from good Xavier defense. What do you guys envision being the difference here in the second half? Cincinnati, some wind in their sails, but AB, you also talked about that shooting, which could be a revelation here for the Musketeers.
I think both teams being able to mix up their defensive strategies, do man, zone, press, double team trap, just keeping the variety, that's going to be the difference because it directly affects the ability to rebound the ball.
Xavier will start with possession to open the second half. Well, it's a Crosstown Shootout tradition on the eve of the weekend of the Crosstown Shootout. All the babies in UC Medical Center in Cincinnati are dressed up in Beat Xavier jerseys. Look at all those cute faces. From birth, they're already rooting for one side or the other.
Well, for the most part, you have to pick a side, but every now and then, some of us get away with being faithful to both.
There are some histories, or historical examples of rivalries combined. That's an and one for Noelle, trying to will her Musketeers to a win. This has been her move, Jillian, all game long.
Taking it baseline, easy layup for Noelle.
And it's interesting how late Cincinnati is in rotating over to Xavier's leading scorer. Again, Noelle comes into the game averaging 17 points per game. So far, she's at 15. Xavier is taking advantage of these one-to-one isolation opportunities that the Bearcats are giving them.
Noelle has helped put Xavier back in front. Cincinnati took the lead into the locker room, but now down 4. Looking for the back cut with Crawford. Instead feeding Torrance, free throw line jumper. Now the iron not kind. Rebound, here comes Canerva. Givens knifes her way through.
Jillian, you talked about it earlier, how Mary Canerva is so sharp offensively. Not only the way she comes off the screens, but the way she constantly has her head up immediately in transition, able to find Givens quickly for the attack.
You can tell she's a seasoned player. I mean, she knows what to do. She knows, again, when to push in transition, when to slow it down, when to pass it ahead. Looking and finding Givens for an easy foul that Cincinnati does not want, but obviously Xavier will take it.
But for Givens, Billy Chambers told us last year that she was a raw player, she was young, she was athletic. She helped on defense, helped on the glass, but was having trouble keeping pace with the physicality and the up and down style of the college game, but she really put in the work in the offseason. She loves the weight room. Apparently Givens is always flexing in the mirrors, wanting to see if her muscles have grown. And it's paid off this year. She's gone from averaging 2 a game to up to 11 points this year per game. That's a tough shot for Perry. Canerva all the way to the cup. Hoop in the harm for Mary Canerva.
Oh my. Canerva straight to the basket. Jillian, you mentioned her ability to change speed and change pace. And right there, that slight hesitation was just enough to get Kalia DeVillisi to rise up on her toes, and Canerva straight to the basket.
Going back to talking about Xavier keeping it simple, doesn't get much simpler than a straight line drive.
Canerva rolls in the free throw. She has joined the double-figure party. 3 Musketeers now with Canerva, Givens, and Noelle. You can call them the 3 Musketeers if you want.
1 minute remaining in the quarter.
Cincinnati running a little motion action, some fluff at the beginning, trying to get the defense to rotate, but Xavier able to stay on assignment.
Crawford lines up the 3 and hits.
3 points for
Joya Crawford. Big 3 for Cincinnati to keep this a 2-possession game with just 23 seconds left.
More than 2,000 points in her high school career at Dryersburg. Runner off the glass, no dice for Canerva, but Noelle takes it right back. Another poor outlet for Cincinnati. Torrance bails him out with a block. 6 seconds left. Givens tough inside. 2 tries won't go. It'll stay with Xavier with 3.9 left in the third.
3.9 seconds.
You can see Katrina Merriweather is quite upset about the defensive rebounding in that session right there. Xavier, I know, is loving that, though.
The Musketeers
And Kylie Torrance, big block off of that turnover to keep Cincinnati's hopes alive for a stop.
I think that's the best thing you can do as a player. Get it back.
Off the mark at the buzzer for Canerva, and that wraps up the third quarter. We're through 30 minutes in Cincinnati, and Xavier has overcome a halftime deficit to lead it by 5 with 1 quarter to play. They're hoping to bring that Kendall Cup back to the Cintas Center.
Welcome back to Xavier versus Cincinnati, where Xavier holds an 11-point lead. And and a lot of it because of the offensive execution. Xavier running a very Princeton-esque style of offense and able to capitalize off of this simple backdoor layups.
Bernardo just does a great job of going shoulder to hip and coming off the screen, giving her wide open. UC has to do a better job of putting their hands up and not letting that pass go through.
And like you guys were just talking about during the break, Xavier's shooting better from three than the percentage would indicate. Cincinnati can't come off of those shooters on the outside as Perry hits one for Cincinnati.
Cincinnati is going over all of these screens, trying to take away some of the three-point momentum that Xavier showed early in this game. But the averages are starting to balance out, and I think Cincinnati would be better served by going under those handback situations.
And right on cue to your point, AB. White off the mark from three. Cincinnati trying to chip into this deficit. No dice for Perry. Ndiba in there, crashes the offensive glass.
Ndiba looks like a good spark off the bench. Getting that O board, that's exactly what Katrina Merriweather wants. She wants them to crash hard on the boards and get second chance opportunities.
This is the juncture in the game where the rebounders are the X factor. Rebounds equal possessions, securing rebounds and getting nice, easy, high percentage shots.
Rolls off for Canerva, and here comes Tbilisi. One-on-one against Boralova, and Tbilisi wins.
Downhill, downhill, downhill. Kalia Tbilisi in transition. It's a 2-on-1. The 5'7" is challenging the 6'3", but she's not deterred at all.
Freshman going right at the vets, and a flex at the end. Cincinnati, a long tradition of basketball. We mentioned earlier they've honored the 98-99 team earlier today. That Kendall Cup has been in Cincinnati in Fifth Third Arena the last couple of years, but Xavier is 458 away from bringing it back to Norwood. Musketeers dominating in the paint and points off turnovers. Tbilisi has turned it up for Cincinnati. She's at the line now trying to convert a three-point play and get the Bearcats back within one possession.
Kalia Tbilisi now with 17 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds for the freshman point guard. And her tempo by itself can be the difference maker for Cincinnati.
Ramaya Bird is in for Cincinnati. One of the first times we've seen Bird in there for the Bearcats. They'll stay at this end, and Jill, you identified that with Bird coming back in the game after that timeout. Defense, Cincinnati getting killed down there. Bird provides a lot defensively.
Bird adds a lot of length to the defense, and she also sits down. She can guard, she can block shots. So I think Katrina Merriweather put her in specifically for defense because that middle ball screen is really killing them.
I misspoke there. It's touched by Cincinnati. I beg your pardon, Xavier, so it goes back to Cincinnati, and a three will tie the game. Ndiba looking for the high-low, takes it herself instead. It's a block and one. Count the basket for Ndiba and a chance to tie it at the line.
Alliance Ndiba, not the player you typically see put the ball on the floor to make a play. But this possession, she looked for a cutter. No one was there. She was poised and patient as an upperclassman to score that basket, potential and one to tie.
I think that's the key point is that she was posed. She was composed in what she did. She put the ball down, put her head down, one dribble, off the rim, off the backboard.
Cincinnati has overcome an 11-point deficit. White loses the handle.
Alliance Ndiba, phenomenal defensive stop against Savannah White, who tried to ISO.
Barrett gets stuck. And last touch by Mary Canerva.
For a 5-player, Ndiba has super active hands, and I think that throws her opponent off a lot because most 5s aren't used to that. Her hands are active, getting deflections.
Another whistle
This is a foul on Canerva,
The
who's
senior
just picked
foul
up
is
a
number
fourth.
41, Claudia Young.
Oh no, they get Young.
Third personal. Fourth team foul.
Her third.
In the quarter.
Fourth on
Cincinnati will
Xavier.
get down on the baseline.
You wonder in a game like this that has so much at stake if it's going to start to get a little chippy.
Inside, Ndiba,
Traveling
and an extra step.
Xavier basketball.
That's interesting. It was the official on the weak side who made that call, not the two who are right in front of the action.
For number 25, Alliance Ndiba.
Torrance back in, and Ndiba out. It's Canerva, Borilova, Givens, Noel, and Young on the floor for Xavier. Davila, Bird, Perry, Barrett, and Torrance for Cincinnati. Coach Merriweather continuing to trust these freshmen, 3 of them on the floor down the stretch.
You can see Cincinnati is starting to switch on everything, hoping to not get burned by that middle ball screen.
Do a better job that time. Over to Givens, splash from the corner.
Maya Perry for Cincinnati, 5 assists to match her 14 points, but just not enough for Cincinnati.
The Kendall Cup is going back to the Cintas Center. The Xavier Musketeers take down Cincinnati in Fifth Third Arena, 77-70, and it's been a long time coming for Billy Chambers and the Musketeers, winning on this floor against their arch rival. The Musketeers jumped out to an early lead. Cincinnati came back to take a lead at halftime. And then Xavier on a big run. They led by 11. Cincinnati came back to tie it, but just too much down the stretch. Cincinnati did not score a basket from the field for the final 4 minutes and 23 seconds of the game. So you combine that, Jillian, a cold Cincinnati offense down the stretch with an offense they couldn't stop. It was a tough combination.
I mean, you can't have both. You can't keep getting scored on and not producing on the offensive side. So tough for Cincinnati, but Xavier really played great today.
Well, a 7-point win for Billy Chambers and the Xavier Musketeers. Happy to have Coach Chambers with us here to recap this win. How good does this one feel for you guys? It's been a long time coming since you won on this home floor.
It has been a long time, so obviously it feels really good to win a rivalry game. You know, obviously very big for our players, for our alumni, for our university, for our fans. But just an even bigger win for us because this is a really tough team, and it's going to prepare us for Big East play. So I'm really proud of the grit and the toughness that we maintain to fight through their runs.
Me and you talked earlier this week about Givens being a local kid. What was her aura stepping into this game? Because she really showed up.
Man, she showed up all right. And she's just such this kind of steady calm. She didn't say much. She kind of kept herself even. You know, you watched her through warm-ups and you could see it a little bit in her eyes that she was just present. And that's all she needed. So we're really proud of her for stepping up and bringing this one home for us.
Mariah Noel as well, her first Crosstown shootout. You talked about how she had a chip on her shoulder from the years at Ole Miss, didn't play very much. How does she continue to impress you on the floor?
Man, she can put the ball in the basket. She can play in multiple spots. We can post her up. We can put her on the perimeter. But she knows how to find her teammates as well. A couple of times they brought some traps to her and she turned it over, but immediately she was in that huddle. Hey, I'm looking for you. I'm going to kick it out for you. So she gives us some confidence offensively. And again, this group playing great together is exciting for the next steps forward.
How much are you able to soak in this win and really celebrate it with the team?
Not too long. We got LIU coming in on Tuesday, so we'll wrap this up and move on quickly.
You're going to sell, yeah, I know you mentioned you haven't experimented with the Skyline menu very much. Is tonight an opportunity
all
to maybe...
Skyline all night.
We'll go eat some, and congratulations on the win. Enjoy the long trip back over to the Cintas Center.
Thank you.
Congrats.
That's Billy Chambers recapping the Xavier victory, 77-70. They play for the Kendall Cup, and it's going back to the Cintas Center after Cincinnati won it last year. On Xavier's home floor, the Muskies return the favor this year. It was a fun game from start to finish. Xavier early, Cincinnati in the middle, and then back and forth in the second half before the Musketeers pulled away and win it by a final of 77-70 over Cincinnati. For Jillian Hayes, AB Stocks, producer Jack Langen, Director Jack Bolander, and our entire ESPN crew here today. I'm Anthony Mazzini saying so long from Cincinnati. All games streaming live or archived on the ESPN app. It's been a presentation of Big 12 basketball on ESPN. Xavier wins the Crosstown Shootout in 2025.